Alright, so, Athens around 380 BCE. Plato is writing his ideal society, doing that thing philosophers do where they redesign civilization from scratch because clearly everyone else has been doing it wrong. He's got opinions about everything. Who should rule, how to raise children, what makes justice, standard megalomaniac stuff. But then, he gets to music, and this is where it gets absolutely bonkers. He demands that certain musical scales be made illegal. Not songs, not lyrics about overthrowing the government or doing crimes, the actual arrangement of notes, because the Mixolydian mode makes people soft and lazy. I mean, what? This is a philosopher arguing that hearing notes in a particular order is a threat to civilization itself. He wanted scale sops. Imagine getting arrested because your lyre was tuned wrong. And somehow, this was the sophisticated position. The intellectuals were nodding along like, yes, obviously, some intervals are morally degenerate. Athens had people debating whether the Phrygian mode was suitable for the warrior class, while somewhere else in the world, humans were probably just, I don't know, banging rocks together to keep rhythm while they worked. Which brings me to the truly weird thing about all this. Musical taste isn't a natural human instinct, it's a technology we invented, and once we invented it, we immediately weaponized it for social hierarchy. Because here's what nobody talks about. For most of human existence, music had zero aesthetic dimension whatsoever. It was purely functional technology, like a hammer. You didn't like a harvest song any more than you liked a plow. It was just equipment. Think about this. We've got archaeological evidence of bone flutes from 40,000 years ago. 40,000. These weren't entertainment devices. They were ritual technology, used in ceremonies, probably for altered states of consciousness or communicating with spirits. When ethnomusicologists study hunter-gatherer societies today, the few that still exist, they find music completely integrated with work, healing, ceremony. There's no concept of music for listening. It's always music for something. Medieval church music? Not entertainment. It was literally technology for accessing God. Those monks weren't jamming. They were performing spiritual engineering. Work psalms, time labor, and made backbreaking tasks coordinated and bearable. Lullabies were sleep medicine. Sea shanties, synchronized rope pulling. You didn't enjoy these any more than you enjoy a really efficient pulley system. Which, honestly, kind of insane when you think about it. And here's the kicker. There's zero prehistoric evidence of music for listening. None. Every single ancient musical artifact we found had a specific function. Music was a tool. A really, really old tool that every human society developed independently because apparently we needed it to survive. But enjoying it, having opinions about it, that came later. Much later. Like after we invented writing and philosophy and the general concept of having too much time on our hands. So what changed? The Greeks. Specifically, they figured out how to make music about something beyond itself. And once they did that, once music became analyzable, we were doomed to spend the next 2.5 millennia arguing about it. It starts with Pythagoras in the 6th century BCE, doing math with his lyre and realizing that harmonious sounds correspond to simple mathematical ratios, which, honestly, kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. He's plucking strings and discovering that the universe operates on mathematical principles. But then he makes the leap that breaks everything. If music follows mathematical laws, and mathematics is connected to cosmic order, then music must be connected to cosmic order too. Suddenly, music isn't just functional, it's meaningful. It has content. It can be right or wrong. Plato takes this and runs completely off the rails with it. In the Republic, he's not just banning the Mixolydian mode, he's got a whole theory about how different scales produce different character types. The Dorian mode makes you brave and disciplined, perfect for his warrior class. The Ionian mode makes you weak and self-indulgent, obviously unsuitable for a proper citizen. This wasn't metaphor to him. He genuinely believed that hearing specific arrangements of notes would literally reshape your soul. Sure, that's normal. Aristotle doubles down on this in his Politics, arguing that musical education is crucial for developing proper character because different scales have different moral effects. They called this the doctrine of ethos, the belief that musical modes directly shaped human psychology. These are the founding fathers of Western philosophy, and they're basically arguing that your playlist determines your personality, which, honestly, maybe they were onto something. Because we immediately started using this technology exactly how you'd expect humans to use it, as a weapon for social hierarchy. Musical taste became a class marker almost immediately after it was invented. Like, suspiciously immediately. The Romans perfected this. You've got Cicero writing letters complaining about contemporary music corrupting the youth. Sound familiar? While archaeological evidence suggests Roman elites absolutely consumed popular entertainment, they just performed disdain for it in public. The first recorded example of "I only listen to real music," medieval church authorities took it further, declaring certain intervals literally diabolic. The tritone, an augmented fourth, became known as Diabolus in Musica, the devil in music. They believed this interval was so inherently evil that hearing it would damn your soul, which is amazing because it's just two notes with a specific mathematical relationship. But suddenly, math could be satanic. Cool. Renaissance courts developed elaborate theories of proper music, specifically to distinguish themselves from peasant psalms. The same melodies that were perfectly fine when farmers sang them became crude and unsophisticated when heard in polite company. The music didn't change, the context did. And then we get the first actual music reviews in 17th and 18th century newspapers. The moment humans figured out you could publish opinions about music, those opinions immediately became venues for gatekeeping. Critics weren't describing music, they were performing their own cultural superiority. This symphony demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of harmonic structure. Translation: I am educated and you are not. But all of this was still contained to elites. Most people still experience music the old way, locally, live, functional. If you were a peasant in medieval France, you heard the same songs your grandparents heard, performed by the same traveling musicians, or sung during the same seasonal work. Comparison was difficult. Preference was limited. Then we invented recording, and everything went completely insane. The phonograph in 1877 suddenly lets you hear music from anywhere. For the first time in human history, a person could compare musical styles across continents and centuries. This creates the conditions for preference on a scale never before possible. You're not just choosing between the local fiddler and the church choir anymore. You've got options. Radio makes it exponentially worse by creating the first true mass hits. And immediately, the first mass backlash. Suddenly, everyone's heard the same song, which means everyone can have an opinion about it. And we do. Oh boy, do we have opinions. This is when guilty pleasures emerge as a concept. Music you enjoy, but feel you shouldn't admit to enjoying. Think about how insane that is. Humans developed the idea that you could be wrong about what sounds good to you. We created musical shame. A farmer singing while planting crops never worried that his song choice revealed moral weakness. But give that same human a radio, and suddenly he's worried about being judged for humming along to the wrong tune. Streaming algorithms now literally quantify taste, turning musical preference into data points and recommendation engines. Spotify Rap isn't just showing you what you listen to, it's performing your identity back to you, and you either embrace it or feel embarrassed about it. We've industrialized musical self-consciousness, which, honestly, kind of insane. But here's what really gets me about all this. We tell ourselves a story about developing musical taste, like it was this beautiful human evolution, this blossoming of aesthetic appreciation. We developed refined palates for sound the same way we developed refined palates for food or art. It's presented as sophistication, as growth, as humans becoming more human, except that's not what happened at all. We didn't develop musical taste because we loved music more. We developed it because we needed new ways to judge each other. Everything before this seems like humans discovering aesthetic appreciation, right? Like we were always destined to have opinions about art, we just needed time to develop the vocabulary. But the turn is this: it was always a social technology. From the very beginning. Plato wasn't banning scales because he genuinely believed they were dangerous to society, though he might have convinced himself of that. He was creating a system where he got to decide what counted as proper culture. Medieval priests declaring intervals satanic weren't protecting souls from damnation. They were maintaining their monopoly on spiritual authority. Your friend saying your playlist is basic? Same move, different millennium. The music was never really the point. The sorting was the point. Musical taste is a hierarchy maintenance system disguised as aesthetic appreciation. We invented it right around the same time we invented all our other social technologies: money, writing, organized religion, standing armies. Tools for organizing large groups of humans who don't know each other personally. And, like all those tools, it immediately became a way to establish who belongs where in the social order. Which means every time you've ever felt embarrassed about liking a song, every time you've dismissed someone else's music as trash, every time you've curated a playlist to impress someone, you're participating in a technology that ancient Greeks invented to maintain class distinctions. Cool, 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 cool. That's fine. Everything's fine. So the next time someone says, I just have really eclectic taste, remember, humans invented being pretentious about art roughly 2,400 years ago, and we have never shut up since.